The Mojave sun beats down on cracked earth, where the skeleton of a pre-war highway stretches toward a horizon blurred by dust. A vault dweller steps into the light, their blue jumpsuit a stark contrast to the browns and grays of the wasteland, naive, untested, clinging to the moral codes of a world that died 219 years ago. By the time they reach New Vegas, that jumpsuit will be tattered, their hands stained with blood, and their sense of right and wrong irreparably frayed. This is the core of Fallout's most intriguing paradox. In a world where civilization has been incinerated, doing the right thing rarely looks like heroism. It looks like Lucy MacLean lying to a group of raiders to save her father. It looks like the Ghoul executing a corrupt mayor to keep a trade route open. It looks like choices that would be unforgivable in peacetime. But in the Wasteland, they're the only way to stay alive. Fallout has always thrived on this moral ambiguity, not just in its video games, but in its 2024 television adaptation, which plunges viewers into a post-nuclear America where morality is a luxury, not a given. The show doesn't just ask, what would you do to survive? It asks, what does it mean to be good when survival requires you to be bad? From Lucy's painful transition from vault idealist to wasteland realist, to the Ghoul's brutal pragmatism forged in centuries of loss, Fallout forces us to confront a truth we'd rather ignore. In the face of extinction, heroism isn't about saving the world. It's about saving yourself, and maybe, if you're lucky, one other person. This isn't cynicism, it's honesty. And it's why Fallout's moral paradox resonates so deeply. It mirrors the quiet compromises we all make to get by, amplified to apocalyptic proportions. Wasteland as a moral vacuum. Why virtue is a luxury. To understand Fallout's moral paradox, you first have to understand the world that creates it. The Wasteland isn't just a physical place. It's a moral vacuum, where the rules of pre-war society don't kill, don't steal, help your neighbor have been rendered obsolete by the most basic law of nature, survive. The nuclear war of 2007 didn't just destroy cities. It destroyed the infrastructure that made morality possible, police to enforce laws, hospitals to care for the weak, farms to feed the hungry. In its place, it left scarcity. Water is poisoned. Food is scarce. Shelter is a luxury. Trust is a death sentence. In such a world, doing good isn't just hard, it's often suicidal. Take Vault 33, where Lucy MacLean grows up. The Vault is a bubble of pre-war morality. No violence, no lies, no scarcity. Lucy is taught that right means selflessness, honesty, and compassion. But when she steps into the Wasteland to rescue her father, Overseer Hank MacLean, she quickly learns that her vault-bred morality is a liability. Her first encounter with a Wasteland resident, a man named Maximus, a squire in the Brotherhood of Steel, teaches her this lesson. Lucy tries to help Maximus, offering him water and food, but he betrays her, stealing her supplies and leaving her for dead. It's a brutal awakening. In the Wasteland, kindness isn't rewarded, it's exploited. This isn't just a character beat, it's a reflection of the Wasteland's core logic. Scarcity breeds competition, and competition breeds cruelty. When there's only enough water for one person, sharing it means you die. When a raider gang threatens your settlement, showing mercy means your family dies. When a politician lies to you about a safe haven, trusting them means you die. The Wasteland doesn't reward virtue, it punishes it. And so, the people who survive aren't the ones who cling to pre-war morality. They're the ones who adapt, who learn to lie, to steal, to kill, if that's what it takes to make it through another day. The show drives this point home through its world-building details, each one reinforcing the idea that morality is a luxury. In the town of Philly, a merchant sells clean water for exorbitant prices, water that's still slightly radioactive, but better than nothing. The townspeople buy it anyway, because they have no choice. In New Vegas, Mr. House, the immortal ruler of the city, uses robots to enforce order, but his order comes with a price. Anyone who disobeys him is executed. The people of New Vegas accept this, because it's better than the chaos of the Wasteland. Even the Brotherhood of Steel, a faction that claims to restore civilization, uses violence to hoard technology, killing anyone who gets in their way. The Brotherhood isn't good, but in a world where most factions are worse, they're the lesser evil. This is the Wasteland's moral math. There are no good choices. Only choices that lead to survival, and choices that lead to death. Lucy learns this the hard way, and her journey from a vault dweller who refuses to hurt a fly to a woman who will lie, cheat, and even kill to save her father is the show's most powerful exploration of this paradox. She doesn't lose her soul in the Wasteland. She redefines it, and in doing so, she proves that survival isn't just a goal in the Wasteland. It's a virtue. Lucy MacLean, the idealist fall and rebirth. Lucy MacLean is Fallout's moral compass, but it's a compass that spins wildly the moment she leads Vault 33. Played by Ella Purnell, Lucy is introduced as the epitome of vault idealism. She's kind, honest, and unshakably optimistic. When her father is kidnapped by raiders, she volunteers to rescue him, convinced that her vault-bred values will guide her. "I don't need a gun," she says. "I have kindness." It's a line that feels naive, even silly, to anyone familiar with the Fallout universe, and the show wastes no time proving her wrong. Lucy's first taste of the Wasteland's cruelty comes when she meets Maximus, Aaron Clifton Moten, a disgraced Brotherhood squire hiding from his superiors. Lucy, ever the idealist, offers him food and water, and even helps him repair his power armor. But Maximus, driven by fear and desperation, betrays her. He steals her vault suit, a valuable commodity in the Wasteland, and leaves her to be eaten by a pack of radroaches. Lucy survives, but her innocence is shattered. For the first time, she realizes that kindness isn't a strength in the Wasteland. It's a weakness. This betrayal sets in motion Lucy's moral evolution, or devolution, depending on how you look at it. As she travels deeper into the Wasteland, she's forced to make compromises that would have horrified her just days earlier. When she encounters a group of raiders who have information about her father, she doesn't try to reason with them. She lies, telling them she's a mercenary willing to join their gang. When the raiders discover her lie, she fights back, killing one of them with a pipe wrench, a far cry from the pacifist she was in, Vault 33. I didn't have a choice, she tells herself afterward, but the line between no choice and choice is blurred in the Wasteland. Lucy's most painful compromise comes when she meets the Ghoul, Walton Goggins, a 230-year-old mutant who agrees to help her find her father for a price. The Ghoul is a walking embodiment of Wasteland pragmatism. He kills without hesitation, steals without remorse, and views morality as a joke. At first, Lucy is repulsed by him. But as they travel together, she begins to see the logic in his cruelty. When they're ambushed by a group of bandits, the Ghoul doesn't waste time negotiating. He shoots them down, then loots their bodies for supplies. They would have killed you, he tells Lucy. I saved your life. Lucy can't argue, but she also can't shake the feeling that she's losing something important. By the time Lucy reaches New Vegas and finds her father, she's a different person. She's no longer the naive vault dweller who believed in kindness above all else. She's a Wasteland survivor, one who has learned to lie, fight, and compromise. But here's the paradox. Lucy hasn't become evil. She's become adaptable. Her right thing has changed. In the vault, right meant being honest and non-violent. In the Wasteland, right means saving her father, even if it means getting her hands dirty. When she finally confronts her father, who reveals that he kidnapped himself to escape the vault's stagnation, Lucy doesn't forgive him easily. But she also doesn't kill him, even though he's betrayed her. Instead, she leaves him, choosing to forge her own path in the Wasteland. It's a choice that's both cruel and kind. Cruel to abandon her father, but kind to herself, as she finally embraces her new identity as a survivor. Lucy's journey is a masterclass in Fallout's moral philosophy. She doesn't fail at being good. She redefines what good means in a world that has no use for traditional virtue. Her compromises aren't signs of weakness. They're signs of strength. Because in the Wasteland, the only way to keep your humanity is to accept that you might have to do inhuman things to survive. The Ghoul, pragmatism as survival, cruelty as kindness. If Lucy represents the idealist's journey into pragmatism, the Ghoul represents the pragmatist who has long since abandoned idealism. Born Cooper Howard, a pre-war cowboy actor and war hero, the Ghoul was transformed into a mutant by the nuclear blast of 2077. He's lived for 230 years, watching the world burn and rebuild itself in chaos. In that time, he's learned one lesson: survival is the only virtue. Everything else, kindness, honesty, loyalty, is a luxury that will get you killed. The Ghoul's moral code is simple: look out for number one. He's a mercenary, a thief, and a killer, but he's not a villain. He's a realist. When he agrees to help Lucy find her father, he doesn't do it out of the goodness of his heart. He does it for money, and because Lucy's mission happens to align with his own, he's searching for a mysterious artifact called the GECK. But as they travel together, the Ghoul reveals that his pragmatism isn't just about self-preservation. It's about protecting the few people he cares about. And in the Wasteland, that means being cruel to be kind. Take his relationship with Lucy. At first, he mocks her idealism, calling her a vault brat and telling her she'll be dead within a week. But as he watches her adapt, he begins to respect her. When Lucy is injured in a fight with raiders, the Ghoul doesn't just leave her to die as he would with anyone else. He tends to her wounds, even though it means delaying his own mission. When a group of Brotherhood soldiers threatens to kill Lucy, the Ghoul kills them first, even though it puts him at risk of retaliation. You're useful to me, he says by way of explanation, but his actions tell a different story. The Ghoul doesn't care about Lucy because she's useful. He cares about her because she reminds him of the person he used to be: idealistic, hopeful, human. The Ghoul's past is key to understanding his moral code. Before the war, Cooper Howard was a hero, a man who believed in country, family, and justice. But the war took everything from him: his wife, his daughter, his career, his humanity. He watched as the world he knew burned, and as the survivors turned on each other. He learned that the only way to survive was to become someone else, to become the Ghoul, a man who could kill without guilt, steal without shame, and lie without hesitation. But deep down, Cooper Howard is still there. When the Ghoul finds a pre-war photo of his daughter, he breaks down, a rare moment of vulnerability in a life of cruelty. It's a reminder that his pragmatism isn't a choice. It's a defense mechanism. The Ghoul's most brutal act of pragmatism comes when he and Lucy are captured by a group of raiders led by a man named Mojave, Sarita Chaudhry. Mojave is a former vault scientist who has spent decades searching for the GECK, and she's willing to kill Lucy to get it. The Ghoul doesn't try to negotiate. He doesn't try to reason with Mojave. He shoots her in the head, then turns to Lucy and says, "She would have killed you. I saved your life." It's a moment that shocks Lucy, but it's also a moment that teaches her the ultimate lesson of the Wasteland. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can do is kill someone before they kill you. The Ghoul is Fallout's most complex character because he embodies the show's moral paradox perfectly. He's cruel, but he's also kind. He's selfish, but he's also loyal. He's a monster, but he's also human. His moral code is the opposite of Lucy's, but in the Wasteland, it's just as valid. Because in a world where survival is the only virtue, the Ghoul's pragmatism isn't evil. It's necessary. And in his own twisted way, he's a hero, just not the kind of hero we're used to. It's beyond Lucy and the Ghoul, the Wasteland's moral spectrum. Lucy and the Ghoul are the show's moral anchors, but Fallout's paradox extends to every character in the Wasteland. From Maximus, the Brotherhood squire struggling to prove his worth, to Mojave, the scientist willing to sacrifice anything for her vision of a better world, every character is forced to make choices that blur the line between right and wrong. These characters don't fit into neat boxes of good or evil. They fit into the messy, gray area of survival, and that's what makes them so compelling. Take Maximus, for example. He's a member of the Brotherhood of Steel, a faction that claims to be the saviors of civilization. But the Brotherhood's version of salvation involves hoarding technology, killing mutants, and imposing their will on the Wasteland's inhabitants. Maximus believes in the Brotherhood's mission at first, but as he spends time with Lucy and the Ghoul, he begins to question it. When he's ordered to kill Lucy, who the Brotherhood views as a heretic for associating with a mutant, Maximus refuses. He betrays the Brotherhood, choosing to help Lucy instead. It's a choice that's both heroic and selfish. Heroic because he's standing up for what he believes in, but selfish because he's also running from his own failures as a squire. Maximus's journey shows that even in a faction as rigid as the Brotherhood, morality is a choice, not a given. Then there's Mojave, the show's so-called villain. Mojave is a former vault scientist who wants to use the GECK to create a new utopian society. But to get the GECK, she's willing to kill anyone who gets in her way, including Lucy. On the surface, Mojave is evil. But when you look deeper, her motives are noble. She's seen the Wasteland's cruelty firsthand, and she wants to create a world where morality isn't a luxury. She believes that the ends justify the means, that a few deaths are worth it to build a better future. Moldaver's paradox is the opposite of Lucy's and the Ghoul's. She's an idealist who uses pragmatism to achieve her goals. She's not a villain. She's a survivor with a different vision of what survival means. Even minor characters embody this moral ambiguity. Take the residents of Philly, a small town in the Mojave. They're ordinary people trying to survive, but they're also complicit in the town's corruption. They buy radioactive water from a greedy merchant, they turn a blind eye to raider attacks, and they blame vault dwellers for their problems. They're not bad people, they're scared people. And in the Wasteland, fear makes people do things they wouldn't otherwise do. The show's treatment of factions further reinforces this moral spectrum. The Brotherhood of Steel is good, in theory, but bad in practice. The NCR New California Republic is a democratic faction that wants to restore law and order, but it's also corrupt and expansionist. Caesar's Legion is a brutal, slave-owning faction, but it provides stability in the regions it controls. There's no right faction to support in Fallout. There's only the faction that aligns with your version of survival. This moral spectrum is what makes Fallout so unique. Unlike other post-apocalyptic stories that pit good against evil, Fallout recognizes that in the aftermath of disaster, morality is subjective. What's right for Lucy isn't right for the Ghoul, and what's right for the Ghoul isn't right for Mojave. But all of their choices are valid, because they're all driven by the same goal, to survive. Redefining heroism, survival as the ultimate virtue. In traditional heroes' journeys from Star Wars to Lord of the Rings, heroism is defined by self-sacrifice. The hero gives up something valuable, their life, their happiness, their innocence, to save the world. But in Fallout, heroism is redefined. There's no world to save. The world is already destroyed. So heroism isn't about saving the world. It's about saving yourself, and maybe, if you're lucky, one other person. Lucy's heroism isn't about rescuing her father, though that's her goal. It's about surviving the Wasteland without losing her humanity. She makes compromises, but she never loses sight of what's important. She still helps people when she can, she still feels guilt when she kills, and she still hopes for a better future. Her heroism is quiet, messy, and imperfect, but it's real. The Ghoul's heroism is even quieter. He doesn't save the world. He doesn't even save a town. He saves Lucy, and in doing so, he saves a part of himself. He reminds us that even the most hardened survivors can still have moments of kindness. His heroism is about choosing to care, even when caring is dangerous. Maximus's heroism is about questioning the system. He's a small cog in the Brotherhood's machine, but he chooses to stand up for what he believes in, even if it means losing everything. His heroism is about courage. Not the courage to fight dragons, but the courage to admit you're wrong. Moldaver's heroism is about hope. She believes that the world can be better, even if she has to do terrible things to make it happen. Her heroism is about vision, not the vision of a perfect world, but the vision of a world where morality isn't a luxury. All of these characters redefine heroism by proving that survival is the ultimate virtue. Because in the Wasteland, survival isn't just about staying alive. It's about holding on to your humanity in a world that wants to strip it away. It's about making choices that hurt, but that are necessary. It's about hoping for a better future, even when there's no reason to hope. This redefinition of heroism is what makes Fallout's moral paradox so compelling. It challenges our assumptions about what it means to be a hero. It makes us ask, would we do what Lucy did? Would we become the Ghoul to survive? Would we betray our beliefs like Maximus? Would we sacrifice others like Mojave? These are uncomfortable questions, but they're important ones. Because in the end, Fallout isn't just a story about a post-nuclear wasteland. It's a story about what it means to be human. Conclusion: the paradox that makes Fallout timeless. Fallout's moral paradox, doing the right thing often means doing the unthinkable, is what makes the franchise timeless. It's a paradox that resonates not just with post-apocalyptic fans, but with anyone who has ever had to make a difficult choice. We all have our own wastelands. Moments in our lives where we're forced to compromise our values to survive. Maybe it's lying to a boss to keep your job. Maybe it's cutting off a toxic relationship to protect your mental health. Maybe it's sacrificing your own happiness to care for a loved one. These choices aren't easy. They're messy. They're painful, but they're necessary. And in their own way, they're heroic. The Fallout TV show understands this. It doesn't judge its characters for their compromises. It doesn't moralize. It just shows us what it's like to live in a world where survival is the only virtue. And in doing so, it reminds us that our own moral choices are just as complex. We're all Lucy, trying to hold on to our idealism in a cruel world. We're all the Ghoul, trying to survive after losing everything. We're all Maximus, questioning the systems that tell us what's right and wrong. We're all Mojave, hoping for a better future, even when it seems impossible. At its core, Fallout is a story about hope. Not the naive hope of a vault dweller, but the hard-won hope of a survivor. It's the hope that even in the darkest of times, we can still be human. It's the hope that even when we have to do unthinkable things, we can still be good. It's the hope that survival isn't just about staying alive, it's about staying human. That's the beauty of Fallout's moral paradox. It doesn't offer easy answers. It doesn't tell us what to do. It just asks us to look at ourselves and at the world around us and recognize that morality is a luxury. But survival? Survival is a virtue. And sometimes that's enough. So the next time you find yourself in a wasteland, whether it's a post-nuclear desert or a difficult moment in your life, remember Lucy. Remember the Ghoul. Remember that doing the right thing doesn't always look like heroism. Sometimes it just looks like surviving, and that's okay. Because in the end, survival is the ultimate act of heroism, and it's the only thing that matters.